Great.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Douglas Planning Board meeting of January 29th, Wednesday. Time is 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by Local Access Programming with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone in attendance tonight recording the meeting? Seeing as none, I hereby call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Members are in attendance. Roll call, please. Jacob Schultzberg.
Meg Schlesman.
Aaron Sokrat.
Mike DeRose.
Rich Preston.
Jake and Attic.
Mike Rocco.
Mike Swicker.
And Ernest Marks absent. There are no A&Rs for tonight, no public hearings for tonight. Going to go out of order a little bit and take our friends from 93 Davis Street for the decision. Mr. Benoit, so that's where we...
So we closed the public hearing. We are yet to vote because we wanted to see some draft decisions. They're in your packets. I think most of the conditions we're looking for are in the site plan decision, but what I did is I pulled the conditions from the previous decision, at least the ones that were still valid, and I put them into the site plan review decision. The special permit conditions are pretty standard for the most part. The only one that was, the ones that were different were construction of a drive-through garage must conform with all requirements set forth by the Cannabis Control Commission, especially with regards to security, public safety. The applicant shall work with the Douglas Police Department to make sure all requirements are met. And the garage entrance shall have a lighting system or equivalent as is consistent with the requirements of the CCC to inform drivers waiting in the queue when to approach the garage. Otherwise, standard conditions for the special permit.
Okay.
And this has been vetted by the applicants as well, and from what I understand, they agree with the language that's in here.
Okay.
So,
I'm just looking at this memo from Kevin Quinn for
Yep.
the revision to the guardrail.
Yep. Yeah, so this work was actually done right after Mr. Quinn went out there. I called Adam Furno, and he was out there the next day, and he corrected the guardrail, so it now bends in.
Okay.
So they're going to be able to propose the arc radius that Mr. Zucker asked to point out. So they put that on their revised plan as proposed.
That's
Okay.
Yep.
All right, board, any questions regarding the decision?
Just for the special permit.
I know there was language, or there was some communication from the building inspector for maybe a chain instead.
Yeah, we could talk about that at site plan. But as for the special permit, we do have to go through the review criteria, of course. Just go through each of these. Provides adequate traffic flow and safety, including parking and loading. Any concerns? Meets social, economic, and community needs per the Douglas Master Plan. In process of being updated. Provides adequate utilities and public services.
Yeah, existing site.
Yep. Project does not negatively impact neighborhood character or social structures.
It's in the back.
Minimizes impact on the natural environment. It's on an impervious surface already. Minimizes impact on town services and provides for new employment and commercial tax base, which it does. So,
Okay.
does anyone has any issues with that? Entertain a motion to, well, unless there's further discussion, motion to approve the special permit for the 93 Davis Street drive-through.
So move.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Sokrat, second by Mr. DeRose. A special permit,
Yes, Mr. DeRose.
all right, I already selected Mr. DeRose previously, so, any further discussion? No one, yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Seeing as none, motion passes,
All right,
unanimous.
so now we're on to
So the
the
site plan.
site plan review. So what I did, on condition number 1 on page 5, the conditions of this decision are intended to replace the conditions of the previous site plan review permit. Conditions that were completed as part of the original approval have been constructed and have been removed. Conditions that no longer applicable have been removed. I have those here if anyone wants to see them. These are all the original ones. I kept the ones that are still valid. I thought I did a pretty good job with this. The hours of construction are as we have been doing. I don't think I put anything on here as regards to drilling and blasting, because it just doesn't apply to this type of site. No. Right. The noise, vibration, traffic complaints, all our standard language that we've been using. Complaints regarding lighting was pulled from the previous decision. It's on page 6, item 7 was pulled from the previous decision, as well as the one underneath. Implement measures to glare headlights, to ensure glare from headlights, lighting intrusion are kept in the decision. Barrel of trash, dumps, debris, expressly prohibited, is pulled from the previous decision. Hours of operation, this is a 365, 7 days a week operation, right? They want to run on holidays, it's totally up to them.
My question to the applicant, do those hours match your business license from the state and from the selectmen?
My business license with the state is with the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen, I was approved last year and this year for 8 in the morning to 10 at night, 365.
It's not here.
8 in the morning to 10 at night. Okay. So
So
this,
I don't want to have a conflict in.
all right, so I'll update that, 8 and 10.
Confirm that.
I'll update that, no problem. All right, delivery hours should be made between 9 PM and 10 AM the following day, so deliveries are at night, not during operation. No queuing of vehicles allowed on Davis Street. In the event of queuing, police details should be required, or predicted queuing. Police details should be required, coordinated with the police department, cost of detail borne by the applicant. Any construction work performed within the town right-of-way require a separate permit from the road commissioners. I don't think there's any work proposed in the right-of-way, but I carried that condition forward in case there's construction equipment that has to park there. So then we get to page 8. I pulled number 20 and 21 are from the special permit decision that I just read. Drive-through conform with the CCC. Garage entrance have a lighting system. And then the last two are the ones that we kind of discussed, but we didn't finalize. So it's prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit or prior to use of the drive-in garage, the parking lot will receive its final top course and striping to be signed off by the building commissioner. And prior to the issuing an occupancy permit, final as-built plan should be provided to the planning board and the building commissioner.
Through the chair, just one minor
Yeah.
thing here. It says to inform drivers waiting in the queue when to approach the garage. Doesn't that mean enter
Where are you?
the lighting? It's number 21. Just to clarify, we know what we said, mean, but
Yeah, so it's when to approach. So there's a stop line here, and the garage is here. So we want them to be able to approach from there and not back up this queue,
right.
right?
So we don't need to say and also enter the garage. I mean,
I think they understand at that
okay,
point.
Whatever.
Aside from that minor edit, any other questions, concerns?
Board, any questions, concerns? Teresa, any questions, concerns?
The deliveries have always been during operational hours. Deliveries have never been done at night,
Okay.
because we're at the mercy of the other vendors and third-party deliveries to the scheduling. The scheduling, we keep it tight, we keep it only on Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays, but it is during operation. That's why we have the other side of the building where we have that loading dock.
Okay, can we check what was originally written up?
That's how it was.
So if that was the case, you should have come and modified that, just, I mean, because that was the plan and the signed approval that they would be during the off hours, so you should have come and, she made that change and probably adjusted it beforehand, but,
We can make it now if we wish.
Let's do it now.
It's part of the decision.
all right, so what do you, just for the record, your name and affiliation?
Teresa Madison, 93 Davis.
Okay, so what shipment delivery hours are you requesting?
Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays between 1 and 4.
Do you want to have any flexibility with that?
It depends, well, sometimes, yeah, we would have a little flexibility in there. If,
I don't want to restrict you to those certain days and certain hours.
well, why don't we just leave it, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Friday only between 1 and 4?
Monday through Friday, 1
Monday
through 4.
between 1 and
I'd
4,
recommend.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just want to make sure everything
Thank you.
documented, signed off, matches what you need to operate your business.
Monday through Friday between 1 and 4. Okay.
Board, any issues with that?
So the rest of it reads, delivery shall be made only at times when retail operation is closed, so that's going away. And then delivery shall be made in vehicles that are no larger than a van, single-unit truck with an overall vehicle length less than 30 feet.
Does that match what delivery trucks are?
Yeah, they're either a van or basically they're either a van or a car.
Okay.
All right, so I'll clean that up, that's just one page. Both amendments are on the same page, so I could do that.
Okay.
If you want to go through the review criteria. do that.
Were there anything else that stuck out that you want to go over or any concerns from it?
Nope, everything
Okay.
else was fine. Just wanted to make sure those, because the Board of Selectmen gave them those hours.
Okay. All right. So Matt, our criteria?
Review criteria. Maximize pedestrian and vehicular safety both on-site and egressing from. There's 2 exits. So maximizing the volume and cut of fill, stormwater flow, and site erosion was covered in the previous approval. Minimizes obstruction of scenic views in public locations. It's not applicable here.
The chain, what's going on with the chain from the building commissioner?
Yeah, it's just a recommendation from the building commissioner. I kind of wanted to leave it up to the applicant what they want to do. They put the bollards on here. I figured that might be a little bit of a maintenance thing, like where you got to take them out in the winter to do snow plowing or whatever. Maybe they put a chain across, if that's something the board would be amenable to, or if the applicant was, it might be less expensive. This way they could pull it if
They ain't gonna be
vehicles
putting
really
no
need
ball
to get
back
by.
there.
Right, well, some sort of, I don't know if they're shoveling it or whatever, but snow blower or whatnot.
But did you see the request or the recommendation?
Yeah, I saw that request. That request came in after we already closed the hearing,
Right.
after we
Yeah.
already decided we were going to put the ballers and just leave it at that. I feel a chain is a hazard, especially at night. Somebody could walk into it. You don't know. I would rather just leave it open where they can't get through because we have those ballards. And if somebody's doing, under contract to do our plowing, well, then that's part of their job. They're going to, and remove everything.
The only thing I just thought of now with the bollards is some kind of maybe reflective tape on them. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if they're painted a certain color, just some kind of reflective tape on them, so they,
Absolutely.
Usually they put those yellow cones.
Yeah.
On the top of them,
PVC coated.
so that,
And there's a red tape that goes around the top of red reflective.
Yeah, Granger.
okay,
That's easy, that's fine.
with DOT tape on it.
yeah.
You're good
It
to
comes
go.
with the, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Minimize glare from headlights and light overspill onto adjacent properties. Provides adequate access for emergency vehicles. We went through all the fire truck turnaround, and fire department signed off on that.
Yeah, and it meets their requirements.
Provides adequate stormwater management. That was all approved previously. Once this was brought up to top coat, the stormwater system's going to function, probably for the first time, so it'd be nice to see it work. Minimizes character impact to buildings in the vicinity. There's no issue there. Minimize contamination of groundwater involving hazardous substances. I don't think that's really a concern. And ensures parking compliance with the zoning bylaws, which it does.
Okay.
Any of the waivers from the previous site plan review, submittal of a lighting plan, landscape plan, all those waivers are still in effect as part of this decision.
Board, questions, comments? Seeing none?
For a motion to approve the site plan review for 93 Davis Street, Capital Cannabis, SPR 241120.
So move.
Second.
with amendments to the.
With amendments.
Yeah,
Yep.
amendments.
Okay. Aaron, you had the,
I so moved.
so, okay.
My friend here seconded.
Mike,
Okay, all right, so motion made by Mr. Sokrat, second by Mr. Greco. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Seeing as none, motion passes unanimous.
Awesome. So we'll get these amended, signed tomorrow. We'll start your appeal period right away, probably tomorrow, as soon as we get it stamped in with the clerk. Nice job.
Thank you
Thank you very
very much.
much, guys. Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
thank you, good luck.
Oh, it's been good.
Keep it going.
Yep,
Have a great night. Thank
you
you.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cleared out the room. All right. 2024 draft annual report, possible votes.
So it's something we do every January. We update our annual report. The one thing I had to update was, no, sorry, conservation report. I had a conservation agent. Never mind, I didn't update that. The number of A&Rs, site plan reviews, everything that we've done in the office. The one special permit is the one that was continued today, obviously, and site plan review. But one of the subdivisions that was still under construction on our last annual report was called Summerlin Estates. Does anyone know where that is?
No, but
The which one?
Summerlin Estates. It's off of U Street, right off of.
Oh,
Southeast
was that-
Main. It's a bunch of smaller lots on the left-hand side.
Was that Les's?
I don't know who's, I think it was Kevin Rafferty's.
It was only 4 lots.
No, it was several.
No.
Yeah, it was like 10 or 12.
Oh, so that
And there was a
wasn't-
bunch of small lots that they got to do on a public way. I guess it's been on here, but no one knew it was finished, but it's been done for a long time, so I took it off.
I don't know which one that was.
When was it done?
It's been, I mean, Kevin Rafferty passed away 5 years ago, 3-4 years ago, so it's been done since before
I don't
that,
remember that name coming up.
right?
I know, I've heard of the name.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of small lots at the end of U Street. Sorry, the entrance of U Street off of Southeast Main.
Summerland is
Yeah.
Summerland?
Yeah, there's no name,
It's all crossed out.
right, there's no name for it. There's no name road, Summerlin Road or anything.
Right. Well,
It's just lots that were built on a public way that they made them file a subdivision plan for.
Is the street called Summerland?
No,
No.
it's all on U Street.
I wonder if that's just the single houses that
It
along
is.
U Street.
It is.
Yeah,
And that's it. And they were all built.
so it's not even a well,
Right.
It's not a your standard looking subdivision.
Right. They made them
that's why
approve
we-
the public way, which is kind of weird. I don't know how they
So
got,
we never hear about it, because if somebody does an A&R, then they just sell the lot.
yeah,
Name it
So
whatever they
planning board
want.
would never know about it.
right.
But they're already built up.
Yeah, it's all done. So I just took it off our report. Another one that I found recently was the lane at Hunts Pond.
I've
It's
heard
right,
of that one.
right off of Main Street. It's like 30-something lots that gotta go right behind this
Yeah, I
building.
know that one.
That one, the Mylar was never recorded after the decision, and statute says they have 90 days to do that. They never did, because I guess he lost his builder and whatever. He came in earlier this week, and he's trying to sell his property. He wanted to know if he could sell it with the value of approved subdivision. I was like, look, that's long gone.
Right.
He lost that opportunity. That thing's expired now.
And I'm sure there's been rule changes and
Right.
everything since then.
So at some point, we're going to bring that forward for a rescission. He was like, can you do it after I sell the property? I'm like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. I mean, I don't mind. We're going to be notifying him of the rescission, even if after he sells it, so he's not going to show up. No one is. And we're going to rescind it, and it's going to go, it was never endorsed. So it's not like they have to go to the registry and pull the lots off. It's just paperwork at this point.
That was
But we have to hold a public hearing in order to do it.
a 2-part project.
Yeah.
Go up to the split in the pond.
Yep,
Once they cross, there was going to be the other half of it.
yep.
By the mansion,
Yeah, and
Yep.
that's where the
Yeah, totally
debate came in, was with the the driveway and the garage and stuff going up on the first part of the road.
We
Yeah.
gave them a bunch of, waiver on the
Well,
length of the road.
Things are gonna change
Yeah.
around a bit there.
It was a long dead-end street.
Yeah,
It's like 3,500 feet.
but it's supposed to solve some water
Well, they-
issue too, water issue.
They had to get it up over the backside, to
Yeah.
get it up over the hill and get
Right,
going. That's
right.
why it's so long.
So what they ended up with was like a short, like, little right-of-way that they got one of the A&R lots approved on, but the roadway was never built.
Right.
So it just needs to be rescinded. It's 229 Main Street. It's the Schuster Mansion. And it's like a lot.
Schuster's
Yeah.
place is that
Yeah.
road there going up,
Yep.
going up on the backside of all that.
Yeah. So that was
That was the road
approved
they were gonna
in,
start to use on.
it was approved in 2018,
Yeah.
but it's long expired now. So he lost his builder when they found out that the water department wasn't going to pay to bring water in. Of course they weren't.
Yeah.
So once he found out the expense of bringing the water up, his builder backed out and he lost the project. So anyway,
All right.
so that one is not on our annual report. But the rest of them are all still pretty active at this time. I think we'll be able to pull 3 of them off after the road acceptances this spring, Whiten Reservoir.
Is Gilboa Court Extension is she still active?
She
over
still has an active covenant. I think it expires either this year or next, and her order conditions is still valid. Actually, her order conditions was closed out because she built the roadway, so that's all done.
there? Yeah.
She just needs to build the houses on the properties now. So if she wanted to close out her subdivision plan and just do her lot releases, she could. But,
Okay. The only thing I'm seeing, just, it says, you have the cubes at Gilboa listed under subdivisions
oh,
being
good
constructed.
point. That shouldn't be there.
I was gonna say.
We'll get rid of that.
And then I would add the Tri-Town, if that was that this year?
No, that was previous.
23.
Okay.
Yeah, the cubes, come on.
Yeah, we'll pull that. Okay. Otherwise, we did the solar amendment per the Attorney General's comments. That was in the spring, I wasn't there in the fall to present it.
Through the chair, do you have any idea on those A&R plans, how many total lots were created?
Which one
On
on?
all the A&R plans, the 11 A&Rs, because an A&R could come in with 5 different lots on a street. You don't have to, I'm just curious,
It's a good question.
is it 65 new homes, or lots approved for A&R? Is it-
It's a good question. I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's not 11
Yeah, that's
lots.
true.
It's 11 times, I think we just put in times, and then we,
But I do know a lot of these A&Rs are just people combining lots together, splitting off a piece of land.
Yeah, then you had,
There was nothing to do with building whatsoever.
then you had all of
They were just
Southeast
changing
Maine.
lots, but
Those
there
were
were
in the
multiple
previous-
ones, A&Rs.
those were in
meaning
2022.
They came with 3,
Okay.
lots out of it, so.
Some.
Yeah.
Some, that's all I'm saying.
I think if anything, the one on Mumford and Cross Street, they presented 2 on 2 separate plans. So, but then again, there was one on,
White Court, and that was,
that one was just
8 or
done.
so.
Yeah. Well, that was just done this January, so that
It's
doesn't
interesting to
even
be able
go
to say,
towards this.
we
Okay.
created 22 new lots in town or something.
Yeah, that's true. I can look into that, number of lots.
master plan.
Yep, and then I added information about the master plan committee.
Yeah.
Through the chair, might it be worth putting in a simple definition of what that is and why we're doing it? It's kind of dry, it's not really a narrative.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, let's take a step back. Who's reading this?
who reads the annual reports?
The residents are reading it.
Yeah,
And they get those books. How many do we publish?
Lots.
Somebody's reading it,
yeah,
and it used to be written as a narrative.
yeah,
almost. So I just think it's good to be clear,
okay.
if possible. And that- we're only talking a couple sentences there. We don't need to necessarily do it this evening, but you could just,
A general synopsis of what
Yeah,
the master plan's
this
up
is
to.
what- we're just updating the master plan, and this is what it does.
Okay. Vision statement kind of thing.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else?
No?
I'll make those changes and bring it back at our next meeting.
All right. Do we need to vote with the amended, or just?
No, you guys probably want to see it first.
Okay.
And I'll bring it back.
All right. Notice of intent, 76 Oak Street. Looks like it's similar to the one we had not last meeting, the one before on Vine Street, where
Yeah.
it's just family,
Right.
going to
Exactly.
family.
Right, and this one, we happen to get a letter for it, so, yeah. This will be coming in at some point. I talked to him about it. I saw his draft plan. It's pretty straightforward. He just needed to make some amendments on it.
A&R?
Yes. Yeah, it's one lot for another family member.
All right. Master plan, draft master plan committee charge, possible votes.
The letter from Mass Housing first.
Oh,
It's our,
yeah, letter from Mass Housing.
it's our
Sorry.
subsidized housing inventory. It's missing the units at North Brown, and we have until, I think we have a few weeks to give them that information. That's just an FYI for everybody. We have to add all the ones for North Brown in here.
The ones that exist today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the total number of our,
Yeah, we are at 4.12%,
and what are we supposed to be at?
10.
Okay, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
I have a question about it.
Sure.
But it says confidential, so I don't know if I can get the information I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
I'm just curious where that is, if that's what I'm thinking it is. DDS Group Homes?
I do not know where that is. I think it's
I just don't want
Hayward Landing, I could be wrong.
to, well, Hayward Landing's on there, on the 26 North Street,
Mike knows where it is.
but where it says it's confidential, I don't know if we can say
That's what,
what I'm thinking it is.
Oh, there's
Probably leaving
Hayward.
it that way.
Hayward's right
Yeah.
at the top, sorry, I didn't see that.
yeah.
I don't know where it is. I think,
On the expiration though, on Hayward Glen, it's 2024. Does that still count? See where it says expires?
Yes,
we'll have to find out. We'll have to look into that.
Right?
Yep.
Because the other one's 2034. So is that all expired or still good or pending? I don't see any notes for the asterisk,
Yeah, you're right.
you know what I mean?
I'll look into that.
Talk about Haywood Landing?
okay. So that's just an FYI.
Yep.
Yeah.
Master plan, draft master plan committee charge, possible votes.
So I brought this at the end of our last meeting, kind of talked about it, it was coming in. The master plan committee made some edits to it, and those are shown in red. This is our charge. The master plan is the planning board's responsibility, and the subcommittee of the planning board is the master plan committee. So this doesn't report to the select board, this is entirely ours for Mass General Law. So we need a charge for our committee. We should have done this a year ago, but it's all right. So that's just kind of, the first page, aside from the first sentence, is all statute. It's right out of Mass General Law. Coming up into recommendation on page 2 is all new language.
No page.
So it's 3-page document. have any questions about it?
No?
Looks good to me.
Is there a motion to accept the charge for the Master Plan Committee, letter dated January 23rd, 2025, through their service through June of 2026?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Schlesman, second by Mr. Zwicker. Any further discussion?
Second.
And seeing as none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Seeing as none, motion passes unanimous.
Great.
And any updates or anything going on with the master plan?
Yeah,
Mr. Preston?
if I might, yes. So we met last Wednesday, and we officially completed Phase 1 of 3. Phase 1 is data collection through the survey and through the open house, et cetera. The survey's closing in 2 days, so if anybody wants to take it still, got a couple days to do that. We have over 800 people have taken it so far, which is one of the highest, I think, in Worcester County.
Yeah.
So we had really good response. So that's the first phase, really data collection. And then Phase 2 is we really dig into data assessment. And that's where the rubber meets the road, if you will, because that's when we decide, having all the community input, what kind of changes we may or may not want to make regarding all those 7 categories we discussed. And then I believe the last phase is more about writing the master plan. Yeah, and that's sort of a big deal, too. And, so we're meeting again Wednesday, February 19th. We paid our first bill,
Yep.
$30,000.
We got our grant funds for $115,000. We just signed a contract with the CMRPC to administer those state funds as part of Phase 2. Phase 2 ends at the end of the fiscal year. Phase 3 is the next fiscal year. It's like $50,000 up until then, and then $65,000 for the rest. We'll see.
So I just want to give kudos to Matt again, because he was really responsible in concert with CMRPC to making this application for the $115,000 grant and arranging for the $30,000 funds that we got from the town.
Yeah,
And
Tom.
it wasn't happening unless we got all.
Yeah.
That would have been a very difficult amount to raise, I think, within the town. So, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. So that's what we got.
Okay. All right, E, draft stormwater bylaw possible votes.
So I know you're all seeing this for the first time tonight.
No, the subcommittee's been very hard working on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go over some of the highlights of some of the things that we talked about the most. Right in the first paragraph, well, we got the map, which is also in your packet. That one's not the most recent because they pulled some of this infrastructure off that's not within the area. I couldn't print out the new one because our plotter broke, so. But anyway, this coverage area is all represented in the map that you have in front of you. So they trimmed the area substantially from the original MS4 regulated area that's on the federal website because, well, our consultant said we could, so we did. And in that first paragraph, the committee wanted to make sure that we dated the map on the general bylaw, that any future amendments to the map and the bylaw have to go before town meeting. So it's a vote of the people to accept the new map or not. I will say council and the consultant they were a little hesitant about that because they didn't want to keep going back to town meeting. But the committee was adamant on it, and they wanted to make sure that this stays with the people and it's not just amended as a general bylaw on the floor, you know.
If I can, through the chair, the main reason for that is we didn't want any one board or committee to be able to come in and change it all without the members of the town voting on it.
Right.
Because sometimes you get people in charge of boards that aren't from the community, and they're trying to push their agenda, which would affect the entire community. So we made it where, by having that date on the map, the townspeople would have to vote at it at town meeting. So it protects everybody.
And
And the odds of it happening are slim to none. I think they said this map hasn't changed in like 10, 12 years or.
Right.
It's been a long time. It doesn't change it that often.
Consultant was able to refine it using contour data, which the EPA didn't use. So their area was much larger, but ours is much more refined. And the first sentence is to meet and not exceed the minimum requirements of the federal EPA. And it's going to be federal EPA and MS4 to protect the public safety and MS4.
Through the chair, I have a question or comment on number 5 in section A.
Yep.
It says establish maintenance provisions. Isn't the intent to, or is it implied that they have to be ongoing? So should it spell out, establish ongoing maintenance provisions?
In case there's new ones that need to come about.
I mean, I think it's covered one way or the other,
Okay,
right? If there's new or old, I think it's covered, right?
okay. Just, when I was reading through it, it seemed like, somebody could say, oh, we have that, we did it, and, that's that. But as long as it's consistent with other regulations that we have, then it's fine.
I think it is. I think a lot of this was pulled from Uxbridge's approved stormwater bylaw, and we just kind of catered it to Douglas.
Okay.
Page 2. We just need to put in the date of town meeting once that comes. Number 2, authority. All the definitions, we went back and forth with this a lot. A lot of the definitions seem to be covered. There will be a set of regulations that this board will have to adopt after this bylaw is accepted. We'll get to that in a second. But that's under Administration B. We are the Stormwater Authority. We have to adopt and amend regulations. The Stakeholder Committee worked on that a little bit for us to get it started. So we do have a nice draft for us to get started with, once we're ready. We could start looking at it in April to try to be ready for the town meeting vote if we want. It's totally up to you. I'll probably put it in our packets a couple of months in advance.
I think we looked at it, 3 times?
Yeah.
A good 3, 4 times.
Yes, easily.
So,
And then there's the manual, which comes after the regulations. It's like a handbook. I don't even really know how that one works yet, so I got some homework to do there. Applicability, page 6. This is applicable only to the red areas on the map. And it's very clear in that definition. So stormwater management permit, the regulations would set up an application, be a new application. That would be the permit application that we have to do once this bylaw gets passed. So the exemptions, anything less than 1 acre, that's a federal mandate. Can't be more, can't be less. It has to be, any disturbance less than 1 acre is exempt. So 443,559 gross square feet, you're good.
How does that number 5 apply?
Because it's considered like an impervious surface, I guess. I don't know, it was in Uxbridge's bylaw, and I think it was tied to like existing single-family dwellings, and we pulled that off, so it's existing roof of any structure.
But the roof has to be over an acre of size.
Yeah.
Right?
Right,
So it really only the warehouse or
Warehouse.
something.
Right.
Or the mill or something.
It has to be an acre.
Yeah.
You can be
Yeah.
2 feet under an acre, you're not an acre.
right.
Which, yeah, if some of these big buildings were going to replace a roof, like there's gutters, there's
Right.
a lot of water design that goes involved with those, so.
Yep.
And the biggest thing is if you look at the map, there's a few lots that would be more than an acre, but a lot of them aren't. The lot itself isn't an acre, so
Right.
you never ever trigger it.
Right.
But that land, right now, if you look at it, is in that zone, so it has to be all included.
Are there any industrial zones on this map that are not included in the stormwater bylaw?
Oh, a lot of Davis Street.
Yeah.
A lot of Davis Street up near, where is it, Cliff Street,
Yeah, not included.
that's not included. And say a lot of, even the warehouse is not included.
Right.
And that's industrial. A lot of Pine Pit is not included as well.
But they get caught up under the other stormwater bylaws that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone files site plan still has to submit their stormwater as part of their
Yeah.
review, so. No.
The only thing I would maybe just look to just highlight with the roof is highlight that it has to be over a certain size of roof replacement. Because a lot of people in town are gonna be like, wait a second, if I'm getting a new roof, I have to go through this process?
No, this is an exemption.
It's an exemption.
Oh, it's an exemption, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Construction of single-family home,
Yeah.
or land disturbance.
So kind
Yeah.
of over an acre,
Right.
you can replace it.
Yep. Repair, replacement existing septic systems, that goes without saying. Fence, it doesn't alter terrain, someone wants to fence in a bunch of acreage.
And the question got brought up, well, what if you do a disturbance over 4 or 5 years? This, you need to disturb the 1 acre in one shot. So say you have 6 acres and you do a half acre this year. In 2 years, you're gonna do another half acre, it's only a half acre, it's a half acre.
Right.
That's a one-time. You're gonna build a place, you go in and you clear cut, level out a full acre. Now that would be triggering it.
Right. The consultant said this is more geared towards like large-scale development,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
It's not really
Yep.
looking to go after the folks that do something like
Right.
that. But we added the timber harvesting exemption under the forestry cutting plan.
Right.
And what's under Mass General Law for forestry cutting under wetlands protection as an exception. So those come up all the time.
So that pertains to harvesting, not clear cutting, right?
Right, yep. We added the maintenance of Town of Douglas publicly owned roadways. That was not in the Uxbridge bylaw, which was kind of weird.
But on the clear cutting, if you had a forestry plan with the state stamp, then you'd be eligible to do it, because now you have a forestry plan to do it.
And then the procedures, we went through this with council. I took a lot of this language out of our site plan view. Let's, need to provide the application, a narrative, site plans, and a stormwater management report as part of their application. The public hearing shows up in 2 successive weeks, 14 days prior to the hearing, posted in town halls, all standard language, Mass General Law. Review and act upon the site plan with such conditions as made within 90 days of the public hearing date. Set the first public hearing date, that could be the last public hearing date, it's completely up to interpretation. I don't really care how that one goes. The way special permits work, it's after the last public hearing date. So. Decision of the plan, yeah, so it's 90 days, lapse. Constructive approval, to enforcement. The board will enforce these regulations.
Or it's designating.
Or its designee, yeah. If the board designates a building official, myself, or a consultant, yeah. However we want to enforce it. Depends on the project, right? If it's an active project and it's under a building permit, you might want the building commissioner to enforce it. If it's wide open and it needs conservation, maybe we engage Brandon to do it. It's going to be case by case, so we're not sure. The fines, so the only thing, we can go up to 300, but the committee felt that 100, I mean, we're probably going after like individual residences here, and those fines could add up substantially quickly.
Yeah.
Right? So 100 a day doesn't really hurt as much as 300 a day. So they went with that for the fine amount.
We looked at it where if it's a big corporation, even if it's 500 a day, they laugh at it.
Yeah.
So we decided to keep it at the minimum, because the only people it's going to really hurt is a resident if, for some reason, they might be in violation.
Yeah.
We
And
kept it low.
Yeah. Planning board can review, can waive any requirements of the bylaw, and there's reasons for the waivers. The last sentence of 8B, planning board as a reviewing agent may require documentation submitted and stamped by a PE. That's a maybe, right? They may ask for that before their application. Where is, let me make sure I covered,
I see we got rid of the P or the stormwater
Yes.
as
Yeah.
some weird acronym that
Yep.
no one knew about.
got rid of that. There was, there was something under enforcement. Make sure I'm covering this. Oh, it's 8A. Planning board or its reviewing agent may waive strict compliance. So if anyone is doing a project or comes in, it's either going to come to the board or it's going to be the board's reviewing agent that determines whether or not they need to come in for the application. That's what 8A covers.
Are people in these impacted areas going to be notified that this applies to them, whether they're doing anything or not?
Town meeting, right?
And it would be if you come in for a building permit, if you're disturbing, you come in with a plan showing that you're disturbing more than an acre, then they'd pick up on it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll only know unless they come in here and do some research, like, hey, I have all this land, I'm looking to do this. Are
Right.
there anything holding me back? Other than that, they might just start and
Right.
up to someone or call and question it.
We're going to hold a meeting on it. Conservation's going to hold a meeting, the BFCC, the Finance Committee, the Select Board's going to hold a public hearing. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for folks to tune in and check on this before it goes to town meeting, where anyone could show up and ask questions. So I think we're covering all the bases as far as notification, apart from sending letters to people's houses.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is it worth sending a letter to people's houses
I mean,
for residents?
under
at
which
least?
budget?
I know, but
I don't, just
If
looking at
you
the
look-
map, there's not
If you look
too
at the
many.
map, if you really look at the lines inside each red spot, I mean, they're broken up pretty small little lots in most of these areas.
I know the fire station's in there. At least the highway barn is, for sure.
Well, the front of the fire station is, but not for Rydell it isn't.
Yeah, right. Just like town hall is. It's the front of us. Same thing, right? Anyway. So,
And looking at that map, Matt.
Yep.
That little subdivision across from Dudley Pond, Southeast Main Street, I wonder if that's Summerlin Estates. Kelly Circle.
No, Summerlin, yes, actually. It's right along that left side of U Street right there. It's all those little lots right there. That's Summerlin Estates.
So, yeah, which you look at that, it's more all A&Rs, but
Right. Except they were done through subdivision because they had to improve U Street at the time.
then that's not in, so they didn't, yeah, they didn't do any,
How we got them to do it.
they didn't do any stormwater on it, but.
Right.
And that's a weird area of U Street. That side of the road, it's
Small lots.
small lots, and the outside is
Right.
agricultural 2-acre lots.
Yep. It's strange. I don't know how that one got through. Anyway, somebody knew somebody. Hate to say that, but that's how it was. On to appeals. One of the things we talked about was we wanted this to be appealable in-house, like to the ZBA, but town council said because it's a general bylaw, it cannot fly to the zoning appeal, so it won't go to the ZBA, it has to go to a court, or what is it, Superior, or however that works.
The appropriate court.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everything.
All right. And so what's the next step for this?
We could either vote to support this to the Board of Selectmen, or we could do it at our next meeting. The Select Board's going to meet on this next week, but they're going to hold their public hearing at a future meeting. So we have time if we want to digest this a little bit,
Yeah.
produce our motion, or whatever you guys want to do. If you feel comfortable with it, we can make it tonight and clear our plate of it. I mean, we're going to be the permit granting authority on this, so.
We going to have to come up with a waiver form, or is that just going to be ad hoc with people requesting something?
It'll be in the regulations, since we build our regulations, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine holding off until at least, the selectmen look at it and look at it myself some more and look at the map and take it in a little bit more.
Great. So we'll keep these in your packets or take them home or whatever you want to do.
Now, what, on the map, what constituted being in the map? So like going down Main Street, where it's red on one side but not red on the other, around like the fire station.
Waters of the United States
Yep.
of America.
Right. It's where our infrastructure makes its way into the
The
waterways
waters
of
of
the
the
US.
United States.
Yeah, right,
That is the definition in term,
right,
not of the state or anything else. It's of the United States.
right. It's where our infrastructure leads to the waterways of the US,
Yep.
one way or the other. So you'll see our infrastructure is tied into a lot of these red areas.
Right.
And then goes, and you can kind of see it goes to streams and,
Yep. And they're
So-
defined by contours and elevations, so a lot of it.
It's kind of the same map that the highway department uses to go by.
yeah, for the catch basins
You
and,
know that, right, because of the waters of the United States, the US. Yep.
is this map gonna change with, like, the new development we did Sutton Douglas? Or even White and Heights with any catch basins and stuff?
It could. And then at that time, we'd have to come back to town meeting and,
Because like, those are already approved subdivisions.
yeah, but the infrastructure's not on the ground.
Okay,
And even Whiten Heights, all of that goes towards the storm basin, and I don't think it makes its way into the waterways of the US for several
Right.
thousand feet. So it probably just percolates into the ground.
yeah,
That's why there's a lot of catch basins in the town that are not involved in this map,
Right.
because they do not go to waters of the US. And that-
so if we hypothetically do approve a subdivision where the catch basins lead into a waterway of the US, what would be the process of updating the map to include that?
We'd have to keep our stormwater consultant informed,
Okay,
and they'll, yeah.
so he'll just have to add it to the map, or town meeting vote or anything like that? or
Yeah,
just gets added?
once the map becomes amended, we then have to send it to town meeting.
Okay,
But the language in here could say the same, we'll just update and date the new map.
Yep,
Resolve that, it's a matter of.
okay.
yep.
Yep.
Just with us being the board, I just want to,
And that's where,
Process.
and that was the other big deal is, like what you just brought up, so a subdivision goes in that might not change this map, but yet the board says, oh, we're gonna change the map. Why? Leave the map alone if it can be left alone. That's where the consultant comes in, he'll know yes or no, whether it has to be added or not. That way they keep that broad swipe.
yeah, and I watched a lot of those meetings, or most of them, so it was a good group of people that put a lot of hard work into getting that done, and it is important. And the DEP
How many
was going to
years
start hounding
Been
us.
trying to get something to pass.
Yeah,
I mean, I know I've been to a bunch of meetings, and every time it goes, it's shot right down.
Yep. Now that we've shrunk it down to its absolute minimum,
Yep.
this has a really good chance. So
Yeah.
we're going to vet it out to all the boards and commissions in advance.
and the DEP's knocking on the door a little bit.
The
right?
EPA.
EPA, yeah.
Right. They gave us forget what the word is. They gave us a mandate, say this has to be done by the end of June.
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of towns aren't taking the time to do this, and they're making the entire town abide by it, and now they're regretting it
oh yeah.
real bad. Really, really regretting it.
Yeah, Auburn did it, and now folks developing single-family house lots on top of hills have to file a stormwater permit, and they're digging up septics or something. It's like, really?
Yeah.
It's just kind of ridiculous.
Costing thousands and thousands and thousands extra.
Right.
And it's going to the little people that are just
That
doing
have,
them.
and
Yeah.
and the waters ain't, have no effect on what the intent of the law is, but instead of taking the time to hammer something out, they just said, no, hold on.
Yep.
I think Sutton did the same too.
That's what we tried doing last fall.
Yeah. So,
All right. Do we have to do anything to, or it's just automatically going to go to the boards?
Yep, it's
Okay.
it's already circulating. We can make a vote of recommendation tonight, or we can do it at a future meeting.
We'll do it at a future meeting.
Okay.
State EDU regulations,
Yeah. So it's the unofficial copy of the state ADU regulations after we passed our bylaw.
Read it.
Yeah, I mean, this is really going to become quite the thorn in our
They
side.
call it protected.
Yeah, protected ADU. So any of the ones that we granted waivers for that were over 900 square feet are no longer protected ADUs. So what happens to them? They become pre-existing non-conforming?
But it says in here that
Doesn't
anything
say-
that is pre-existing non-conforming doesn't, it's all set, that it has to be approved.
Right.
Or left in place.
Yeah.
It's in here.
Yeah, it's left in, but what do we call those now?
Accessory dwelling. I don't think it's anything different.
Pre-existing non-conforming structures? Right?
I don't think the state cares.
Yeah.
I think they
Oh.
want as many of these as possible.
Yeah, so anything that's over anything under is good. What about the ones that were installed illegally without permits? That's not covered here.
No, that's not good.
Yeah, so are those now protected because they're under 900 square feet? It just, there's a lot of,
gray area.
yeah, oh yeah, big time. So one of the big
Typical
things is, it takes away one of our regulations was that it has to meet the minimum lot size of the zone. And I think that's going to be challenged, according to council. Now, they don't have to meet the minimum lot size, it can be put on a non-conforming lot because an ADU is by right.
It says that.
Yeah.
Also,
You have
through
a
the chair-
5,000 square foot lot and put an ADU on it.
yeah.
Through the chair to Mr. Benoit,
Yeah.
there's a question here about regardless of the existing setbacks,
Yes.
or dimensional setbacks. Are they suggesting that the dimensional setbacks that are already underlying on that zone, that's good for the goose? Is it good for the gander? I mean, are they saying that this is protected and it doesn't have to abide by the
They're
setback?
saying this can go right on the property line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
No more setback?
yeah.
Well, I think it says if it has to, that.
Right.
It
I
can.
think the
but-
town can regulate it, but
Right.
we have to get that in place. We already have, but that bylaw has not been approved by the Attorney General because we're waiting on this.
This is not perfect
Right.
right now.
Oh, not at all.
It's
So
also-
our draft, our bylaw that was approved at town meeting is now in the Attorney General's hands because they're going to be reviewing that hopefully providing us with edits that best fit this for the spring.
And it also suggests that it can be attached to the house or detached.
Yeah, right, and there's no distance requirement that we used to have.
No.
Yeah.
And it also suggests that we cannot make a requirement for separate utilities
Yep, or it cannot be restricted to a family member or relative.
at all.
Nope,
But it cannot be a rental. I mean, a temporary.
it can't be a short-term rental.
Short
That's
term.
right.
It has to be,
Yep,
Yeah, you can't Airbnb
you
it.
can't Airbnb, yeah, that's correct.
Right.
It's supposed to be for housing.
yep.
It's not a bad thing, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just without zoning in place, they'll just start popping up everywhere. We need something. And I'm glad we put in what we did, but it's going to get refined by the AG.
Right.
And it's going to end up on the
Well, we
spring
think,
warrant.
we don't know.
Right. I sent it to him as soon as I got this, and I got this on 17th, or the 18th of January, so.
They're pretty clear on manufactured homes cannot be, prefabs, cannot be restricted. It's
Yeah,
in here,
good.
just- they put it here in the language.
Yeah, and I get it.
Doesn't matter.
That's not like mobile homes. It's like
a
just
tiny house.
Yeah.
No, they're talking
Right.
about, they said on foundations.
Yeah,
And so basically, we have a builder in town that does it, and they're
Yeah.
planning for this now.
yeah,
That someone could buy a cookie cutter,
yeah,
900 square foot max, and
Yeah.
that's what they're working on.
right. I think it's really going to start taking off.
So we just gotta sit and wait and see what
Yeah.
comes our way to.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing.
The only hold back on a lot of it is if you're septic.
Yeah,
That would be the
yeah.
big
If the
holdback.
existing septic can handle it, or if they have to install new ones.
Yeah, and it does say
Sure.
that it would have to meet the municipality. They don't say Title V.
Yeah, they don't cover that. Kind of a big thing, but
When we did our bylaw, did we require owner occupancy?
we did previously.
Family,
We
yeah.
couldn't in the last one in the
Oh,
fall.
so we did.
Yeah, we couldn't.
But previously we did.
Yeah, that's what's
Somebody
in our
could
existing bylaw.
take the small house
Yeah.
and build 5 more 900s, and then have a little rental community.
But it's
Well,
very
that's just it.
clear, everything is by special permit with us.
It's one by site
One,
plan review.
Protected, that's protected.
One that's protected with site plan
You
review.
don't have to approve any of those.
Right. The special permits for more than one are the ones that we have the discretion not to approve.
Oh,
They still have to meet our special permit,
Yeah.
our checklist for special
Yes.
permits, so.
Correct.
Yep. That's the way we wrote the bylaw.
It says,
Yeah.
Will they require, or will they allow more than one septic system on, if they don't want to bring the other one up to standard, or can't?
I don't know how that's covered. That's a good question.
If you had the property, you could have more than one septic system.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
I spoke with the person that's in charge of that. He says, yeah, they can put as many, they can put another approved unit septic system on the property.
Yeah.
To
They can
accommodate
dig-
the ADU?
That's right, they can put their own well in. You know, you can have many wells on your property.
Yeah, they just have to be within a certain radius of the of the other
100
one.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the state.
I have a question to the chair. So this becomes effective, was my understanding, February,
Yes.
soon. February 1st?
Yep.
Okay. We can't amend our bylaw until May.
Right.
You may have addressed this, I apologize. So what do we do in the interim between February and May?
Well, that's why we put one in the fall to get ahead of it, and ours is still under review by the Attorney General's office. At some point, she's going to come back with comments for revisions, but she'll accept most of what we've already done, I presume,
So
and
if
give
someone
us
makes,
edits.
we're ready for it if someone makes application after February
I
1st?
think so,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
It's hard to say, because the AG hasn't approved our original draft,
Would
even
that
though
be,
it was approved at town meeting.
would that be worth a phone call to them to
Yeah.
find out?
Yeah.
To say, hey, we have stuff pending with you guys, but yet we have this. We'd like to know in case the second week or first week of February, we get an application, what are we going by? Are we gonna stay with what we've already sent you, or what? So that there's guidance and it's not a, blindside.
Be a good one for
I
town
think it would be the
council.
smart, prudent thing to
Yeah.
do, to be proactive and not just reactive on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's already there, they have it. They might say, hey, we'll take yours, we'll look at it first.
Right.
because of this, you know?
Right.
Good reading material.
Yep.
This is
Plenty.
Scary reading
All at the
material.
same time, everything.
Right.
All right. Now we're on to ongoing developments and
We do have a site walk for Cubes at 8 AM on Saturday.
Where are we meeting off of the lower?
Meet at the Gilboa Street entrance here, Lackey.
what time did we go with?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hopefully Bob's awake.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he will be your tour guide.
There's plenty of parking.
With the Fred Ferraro from CRG. He'll be there also. I will not be there, but I've been there, so.
How does that work with us if we have the quorum? Just call a meeting,
Post it.
It's a public, it's been.
Yeah, it's posted.
but just on site, just
Yeah,
call a
there's no
meeting, but-
minutes or anything. You can go ahead and call it to order, and then if they want to adjourn, they can.
Is there a representative from Cubes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fred Farrell, one of the from CRG, the developers, is one of the big high-ups.
And if some crazy weather comes up and we have to postpone, we'll just make that decision.
Yep.
Your storm?
Send an email out. Well, the representative from CRG is driving out from Pennsylvania. So if he can't make it, or if it's just something going on, I'll talk to Matt and Bob and just send an
Yeah, give
email
a
or
call.
something out, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Phone call works
yep.
best.
Any updates?
No updates on other projects. We haven't had any significant rain events that have prompted response from any of these. Wellham Solar got their electrical connection permit, so they're now officially generating electricity, but they still have some site stuff that they have to do that they've committed to in a letter to the building commissioner I read off at our last meeting. But they just can't do it till they get a little bit of thaw. So no news is good news up there, right? As far as we know.
Have you heard or looked into Douglas Package Store, if they're doing anything?
You know, I hadn't. I forgot to do that. I'll check into that.
Is that on the list?
Yeah.
We added it recently.
Yep.
Yeah, it was approved site plan. They were gonna do a ton of work there and change the layout and had a couple public hearings
But that
on it.
wouldn't go under the 2024 end of the year. Is it here?
No, it could have
It's on our,
been this year.
it's on our agenda.
2023.
Ongoing
That might
development.
have been done.
No, I know that, but I was asking if,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 2023 site plan.
Yep.
Is Whiten's gonna make it?
So they're supposed to be on for the spring warrant. They had their public hearing at the select board, presuming that they get all the work done that they
That's
have
what
to
I mean.
do. That'll be right up until the meeting where they either have to pass over it or not. We'll see. If they don't get that stuff done, I'm going to recommend we pass it over.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
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 sure.
definitely, yeah.
So,
And have you had any phone calls into Sutton Douglas? I know the land
Did I last
transfer,
talk
whatever
to
was
them?
taking place.
I think I sent him something in December. I don't think I got a response out of him. I'll follow up again.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, because I keep asking him when he wants to schedule his pre-construction meeting, and we need to know.
And Webster Street's moving along.
Yep, that one's moving along. They
Yep.
already cleared a lot of it out.
Yeah.
Another one I just thought of was Pine for Cliff Street.
Yeah, I don't know if they're proceeding with that,
Okay.
because I'm not sure what's happening with the cubes at Pine, if that's still going on or not, because if it doesn't, Pine's staying put. So we'll see.
Yeah, that was their
Yeah.
backup plan. They had to move.
I'll add it on here anyway, just because it is an approved site plan. SPR,
busy little town, you know?
yeah.
Jeez.
And, yeah, with Wellham Solar, he was going to go out, because they put the pipes under the roadway heading into the basin. He was going to go out in a rain event and send me pictures, I just haven't had anything yet, so.
All right. Any staff updates?
Nothing? I don't think so.
Signatures going around. And Any topics not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours of advance of this meeting? Anyone?
Next meeting, we're going to have a joint meeting with our consultant for our hazard mitigation plan and Deputy Chief Kelly Manning from the fire department, because she's kind of spearheading it. I really don't know what it's going to be yet. I haven't been part of one of these. It's called a public workshop, but we're going to do our regular business first, because we have a public hearing for our subdivision regs, and then we'll get into the public workshop with them. I really don't know what to expect yet, but they're on our next agenda.
Okay.
And then our following meeting,
And we have training before that one, or the
yeah,
next
the
one?
training's on the February 26th meeting.
So-
That'll be at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So what, at 5 o'clock?
Yep,
Well, which one?
26.
for the 26th.
It'll be 5?
Yep.
Yeah, what are we going over with that one, Matt?
Zoning exemptions.
Okay. And there are no meeting minutes. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Made by Mr. Zwicker, second by Mr. Greco. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstain? Motion passes, we are adjourned.